Our today's topic is verb. Do you know what is a verb? A word used to describe an action, state, or occurrence and forming the main part of the predicate of a sentence, such as hear, become, happen. For example, she accepted the job offer. Number 2. The dog ran across the yard. Verbs are further divided into following types: regular verbs, finite verbs, auxiliary verbs, irregular verbs, infinite verbs, non-continuous verbs, action verbs, stative verbs, linking verbs, transitive verbs, main verbs, ergative verbs, intransitive verbs, de-lexical verbs, phrasal verbs, reflexive verbs, perceptional verbs, causative verbs. Let's take them deeply. Regular verbs, which are also known as weak verbs. Regular verbs form their past simple and past participle by adding d, ed, ied to their base form. For example, laugh, laughed, laughed, look, looked, looked. Look at the further examples of regular verbs. The infinitives of to advise. Simple present is advised, past simple advised, past participle advised, present participle advising. To allow. Simple present allow, past simple allowed, past participle allowed, present participle allowing. Moving towards the irregular verbs, which are also known as strong verbs. Irregular verbs form their past simple and past participle in different ways. For example, buy, bought, bought, eat, ate, eaten. A few more examples of irregular or strong verbs are to know. Simple present of to know is know. Past simple of to know is knew. Past participle of to know is known, and present participle is knowing. The second example is to go. Simple present of to go is go. Past simple is gone. Past participle is gone, and present participle is going. Moving towards the next type, which is action or dynamic verbs. Action verbs show a physical or a mental action. They are also known as event or non-stative verbs. For example, I kicked the football into the goal. The dog ran across the road. She wept bitterly. He sings a song. In all the examples mentioned here, the bold words are action verbs. Action verbs are further divided into two types: transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Let's discuss them. Transitive verbs. A verb that takes a direct object is a transitive verb. So, it's an action verb with direct object. For example, she does her duty. In this sentence, does is the transitive verb. Number 2. She learns her lesson. Here, learns is the transitive verb. Now let's look into the next type of action verbs, which is intransitive verbs. A verb which does not take a direct object is an intransitive verb. So it's an action verb without a direct object. For example, He runs fast. Here, runs is the intransitive verb as there is no direct object linked with it. He walks slowly. In this sentence, walks is the intransitive verb. Now let's move towards the next type of verb, which is finite verb. A finite verb must have a subject. It is the main verb in an independent clause or a sentence. Finite verbs give information about gender, person, number, tenses, aspect, mood, and voice. For example, a verb is needed in every sentence. In this sentence, is the verb. Secondly, I am explaining finite verb. In this sentence, am is the verb. Now moving towards the infinite or non-finite verb. A non-finite verb is also called as infinite verb. It does not have a subject. It does not express tenses or number. It cannot be the main verb in an independent clause. Unlike a finite verb, it typically works as an infinitive, a participle, and gerund. For example, what did Imran want to have done about Hashim? In this sentence, did is finite and want and have done are infinite verbs. Moving towards the next type, which is stative verbs. Stative verbs are also known as being verbs. A stative verb describes a state rather than an action. They are not usually used in the present continuous form. A few such verbs are be, have, like, prefer, understand, belong, doubt, etc. For example, she is a good reader. Here, is the stative verb. Number 2. He seems to be sad. In this example, seems is the stative verb. I like swimming. Here, like is the stative verb. Now moving towards the main, lexical or principal verb. Main verbs are also known as lexical or principal verbs. They refer to the important verb in the sentence. They carry their full meaning. They give the real information. They do not rely on other words to convey their meanings. For example, she cried loudly. Here, cried is the main verb. Number 2. She laughed softly. Laughed is the main verb in this sentence. Now moving towards de-lexical verbs. De-lexical verbs have very little meanings of their own. They rely on the following noun to convey the clear meanings. Some common de-lexical verbs are take, make, have, give, etc. For example, I took a shower. Here, took is the de-lexical verb. I had a drink. Had is the de-lexical verb. He gave a loud laugh. Gave is the de-lexical verb. She made a noise. Made is a de-lexical verb. Let's move towards auxiliary or helping verbs. A verb used in forming the tenses, moods, and voices of other verbs. In primary auxiliary verbs in English are be, do, and have. The modal auxiliary verbs are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, and would. They give more meaning to the main verb. They cannot stand alone, which means they require main verb for their existence. For example, bus may stop. May is the helping verb and stop is the main verb. Rehan will come. Here, will is the helping verb and come is the main verb. Now moving towards the next type, which is non-continuous verbs. These verbs are used in continuous form. They are not used in progressive tenses. They are short or stated verbs. They tell us about some state, not an action. Some such verbs are be, want, cost, seem, need, hear, contain, own, exist, possess, own, belong, like, love, hate, dislike, fear, envy, mind, etc. For example, I see there is a man in front of the door. In this sentence is giving the sense of vision. Now moving towards the linking verbs. Linking verbs are also known as copula or predicating verbs. A verb that joins a subject to a complement. Here are some common linking verbs: be, seem, look, feel, smell, sound, grow, remain, prove, stay, etc. For example, she smells lovely. In this sentence, smell is the linking verb. She looks sad. Looks is the linking verb. Moving towards the ergative verbs. Many verbs function as transitive as well as intransitive verbs. The verb that can be either transitive or intransitive is called an ergative verb. In this case, the object of the transitive becomes the subject of the intransitive sentence. Here are some examples. The bus left early in the morning. In the following example, the verb leave is an ergative verb. There is no object in this sentence, therefore the verb left functions as an intransitive verb here. The next type is phrasal verbs. A phrasal verb is a verb followed by a particle. The article could be a preposition or an adverb. It creates a meaning totally different from the original verb. For example, she has got a job. In this sentence, got is the phrasal verb. She gets up early in the morning. In this sentence, gets up is the phrasal verb. The next type is reflexive verbs. A verb that takes a reflexive pronoun and its object is a reflexive verb. For example, be careful, you may cut yourself. Here yourself is a reflexive pronoun and cut is a reflexive verb. Moving towards causative verbs. The verbs that show the reason that something happened. The most common causative verbs are make, get, have, and let. For example, Henry let me drive his new car. Here let is the causative verb. Let's move towards perceptional or sensative verbs. A verb that conveys the experience of one of the physical senses. For example, see, watch, look, hear, listen, feel, and taste. For example, I heard her singing. Heard is a sensative or perceptional verb. She saw her on the road. Saw is the sensory verb. With this, our video is complete. Thank you for watching our video. If you have any queries, do tell us in the comment section. Hit the like button if you like our video. Share our video with your friends. If you want the PDF of today's lecture, you can get it from the description.